Hey guys, happy Sunday. Welcome to the TFL Fit Law Recipe of the Week. I'm really excited. I was having a really hard time coming up with an idea of what I wanted to do. Hold on, I gotta get on Instagram here. Let's go, there we go. I was having a really hard time figuring out what I wanted to make. I had a couple ideas rolling around in my head, and I don't know how I came to this, but I did, and I'm really happy that I did because this needs a little bit of background. So what we're making tonight is called chicken Fessenjan, and I know a lot of you have no idea what that is, and that's totally fine. So I'm going to give you a little bit of backstory. So Fessenjan is it's a Persian pomegranate walnut sauce, and it's traditionally served over chicken, and it's something that I learned how, not necessarily to make, but I learned about this recipe when I was working at a Persian restaurant in Grand Rapids, which is also where I met my husband. It's called Shiraz Grill, so if you live anywhere near here, you need to go there. The food is incredible, but I learned a lot about the cuisine, and I don't know why I never make this stuff, but I should, because the food is incredibly good. Like, I mean, stupid good. And a lot of it is naturally gluten-free and naturally dairy-free too, because they don't use a lot of gluten or dairy in their cooking. And they also don't really use a lot of fish because they're really not near a ton of water. Persia, or the Persian Empire, is now where Iran is. Iran and Iraq, right?
No.
Just Iran?
Yes.
It is where Iran is now. And so the food is really big in spices, and they do a lot of lamb and chicken and just really good cooking. And a lot of their base for carbs is rice. So I'm working. Oh, there we go. I'm really excited to do this because this is a recipe that every day when I was working, I always looked forward to eating this. And it's really actually pretty simple. So we're going to start here. I actually need to get my chicken out of the fridge. I already cut all of this up. So I'm using chicken thighs, and in the recipe, for those of you who are following on Instagram, to get the full recipe, go over to www.thefitlaw.com/blog. For those of you who are following on my Facebook, you can head up to the link that's in the description, and it'll give you the full recipe. You can save that on your Pinterest and use it later. So I have 12, these are 12 chicken thighs. Now, they were really small, so just use your judgment. I would say, enough to fill a small bowl. I don't really have a better measurement than that. I had 12 really small chicken thighs, but they're cubed, okay? And we're going to start with this because we need to get those cooked. So we're going to cook these separately. So we're actually going to throw them in just a large saucepan. We're going to end up doing this all kind of in one pot. It's going to all end up in the pot, okay? So we're going to do 3 tablespoons of olive oil. You want quite a bit of fat, okay? All right. We're going to start this over a medium-high heat, and we'll get that chicken thrown in there with just some salt and pepper. We're going to start cooking that, and then we're going to make the sauce, okay? The other thing we're going to start doing right away is I have 1.5 cups of walnuts. These are chopped. It doesn't matter if they're chopped or not. They can be whole. We're going to toast them to give them a little bit of extra flavor, and then we're going to throw them in a food processor and grind them up. So that's why it doesn't matter if they're chopped or not. So just stick these in a skillet off to the side here, okay? And like I said, that's 1.5 cups. And then when you're toasting nuts, you want to be really careful. So make sure those are even. Just put those on like a medium heat, and be very careful when you're toasting any kind of nut, because usually by the time you smell it and it has like a really good aroma, it's burnt. So just keep an eye on it. They usually take about 8 minutes, I would say. You can also do them in the oven at a really low temperature. That might be easier for some of you who are better with timing and not so good with like, what heat do I have it on and stuff like that. You can also do it in the oven. Just look it up online, and usually you can find some pretty easy cooking times and temperatures to do that. Okay, so I'm going to stick the chicken in here in a second after that heats up. This recipe, I swear. So there were a couple dishes when we worked there that I really liked. Fessenjan was one of them, which is the one that we're making tonight. Naranj was another, which is an orange chicken. There was my husband's shaking his head because that's where we met, so we both have a really huge love for this food. This restaurant that we worked at was very classic Persian food, and one thing that's so funny about it is, especially Americanized food, you get a lot of like cheese and fat and all of these unnecessary things, and you think that's what makes food good, but sometimes it's just like recipes that you haven't, ever heard of. And all these other cultures, you get to explore all these different flavors and techniques and stuff that we don't have. And so you get an entire different flavor profile that you won't get in a lot of Americanized cooking. And so I highly encourage you guys to to try something like this and go out and look at different restaurants like Thai food and Persian food and obviously authentic Italian and like all these really good like authentic foods. It's so fun to try them because then you really get a good taste for how they cook in different parts of the world. And that's something that I never would have had if I didn't ever work at Shiraz. So, okay, chicken is going in. I'm going to break that up a little bit with some tongs. Okay, we are going to do a liberal amount of salt and pepper, okay guys? So the spices that we're going to be using in there are, it's turmeric, nutmeg, and cinnamon, black pepper, and salt. So it's nothing crazy. You probably have it all in your spice cabinet, but it's just using it in ways that we normally don't use it in. Do a little bit more. There's quite a bit of chicken in there. Just mix this up. And all we're going to do is brown this chicken. We just want it cooked. That's it. And because it's cubed, it's actually going to cook a lot faster than if you had it in like full breast or full thighs. And I know, by the way, that I usually go live at 8. I have a prior engagement. This is going to be the last time that I'll have a conflict. So from now on, it will be 8 p.m. But tonight I just had other plans. So we're on at 6:30. Okay, so we're going to prep a couple things. Make sure that you're still stirring the nuts, okay? We're going to prep an onion, first of all. So we're going to dice up a large white onion. Let me get this peel off of here. Feel free to ask questions as well. My husband is now my, like, behind-the-scenes social media. I don't know what to call you. You're not a consultant. He's my behind-the-scenes social media moderator. So he's on Instagram and on Facebook. So if you guys have questions, feel free to pop them below, and I will answer them. We have our like standard orders that we do. Oh, I do want to talk about this. So when you serve this dish, it is very good by itself, but it's even better over rice. And the rice that they always served at the restaurant was Persian, or basmati, not Persian. I guess it is a Persian rice, but it's also just like in that region. But it's a basmati rice. So you can buy organic basmati rice pretty much anywhere. It's just a long grain white rice. Cooks really easily, super fast, easy to find. It's delicious with this, so I would recommend putting this over top of it. This is almost like a stew. So I think Fessenjan translates to, it's pomegranate walnut stew, or it's a sauce. But that's really what we're making, so it's really good over rice, and it kind of makes like an amazing rice bowl. What were the seasonings again? So the spices that we're going to use, hold on, I'll go through them in a second, are cinnamon, nutmeg, and turmeric. All right, to make sure that this is going. My nuts aren't burning. Okay, we're gonna dice this onion pretty small. All right, and we're gonna cook this in batches. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take out the chicken, move it to the side, add a little bit more oil. We're gonna sweat down our onions, okay? And then we're gonna add the chicken back in with some garlic, cook that all up, and then we'll start deglazing it and building our stew, okay? Because if you put it in all at once, the chicken just wouldn't cook evenly, and some of the other stuff, it just wouldn't be good. So we're going to do it in some steps. So again, dicing an onion, just really quick for those of you who haven't been on my live feed. When you dice an onion, you're going to not cut off the root, okay? So be careful. I clean off the end, but keep the root intact. You're going to make 3 incisions into the onion, okay? And you're not going to cut all the way through. So you're stopping at that imaginary line in the back. 3 incisions, okay? Then we're going to make some vertical cuts. Same thing, you're stopping at that imaginary line.
Somebody said if you don't like cinnamon and don't want to use it, how much would it change the flavor profile?
I think you're only putting about 1/8 of a teaspoon in, so not a lot, but I would recommend doing it. There's a lot of walnuts in here, and it really does bring out the flavor of the rest of the sauce. There is not a huge cinnamon flavor in this at all. You don't taste it at all. I think it just really elevates the rest of the dish. So I would recommend trying it. It's not like that prominent. Whew, there goes the tears. Okay. All right, this is a clean bowl, just so you guys know. So let's stick our onion in here until we're ready to use it. Okay. All right, so a couple things that are really pretty much in every Persian dish that I've ever eaten, onions. They use onions for everything, and I mean everything. Like, we used to come out and give people that were like Persian people that would come in, Iranian people, we would give them plates of raw onions and parsley, and they would eat them. And it just is pretty much in every single dish. And parsley is another thing. So there's certain spices, saffron they use a lot. There's certain spices that are really, really common. I'm trying to think what else. They don't use a lot of cheese.
Saffron, turmeric,
saffron,
cinnamon,
cardamom. There was this drink, and we were just talking about this today. So once I decided I was going to do this recipe, me and Brandon, we started talking about what it was like when we were at Shiraz and all the things that we did, and we used to eat. And so he looked up the menu, and there was this drink called doog, and it was it's an authentic Persian drink, and it's yogurt. It's a yogurt-based drink, but it's got all of these spices in it, and you mix it with soda water. And I never got into it, but people came in and they would drink glass after glass after glass of this stuff. Like, they were obsessed with it. There isn't a ton of dairy. The dairy that they do have usually comes from cows. So they're using, like, cheeses like feta. They're not using, regular cheese that you would get from a cow. A lot of the cheeses that they're using are like goat cheese and like other things like that. So, all right, those are done. Let's get our walnuts in a food processor. My food processor's too small, so I gotta use a spoon. Okay. There's my kid. Okay, here we go. We are literally going to pulverize this, okay? We're just going to get these all ground up, and then we'll just set them aside, and we'll wait until we have to add them to the sauce, okay? So you could totally do this part ahead of time and have these already done and toasted. Like, you can keep toasted nuts, like, in your cupboard, and then just get ready, like, pulverize them when you're done, okay? Or when you're ready to make this. Why won't my lid go on? What the heck? This is not working for me. Okay, so Trouble in Paradise. Oh. All right, there we go. Okay, so those are done. So we're just going to keep these off to the side until we're ready to use them in the sauce. I think the reason that wasn't working is because I put hot nuts right into it and it expanded a little bit. So we're going to leave those off to the side here, okay? So all I did was just toast those and ground them up really, really easily, okay? My kids are throwing a fit, so this is like real life in my kitchen, guys. Like, this is what's happening. Okay, garlic. I have 1, 2, 3, I would say about 4 good-sized cloves of garlic. I have 5 here, but 2 of them are pretty small. So the recipe calls for 4 small cloves, or 4 regular-sized cloves of garlic. That's the other thing they use a lot. Garlic, onions. A lot of what they do is street foods, and so they do a lot of kebabs, okay? So they had, like, kubade, which was a beef or chicken kebab. No. Yeah, chicken kubade and beef kubade, which were, like, kebabs that were ground meat, and they would form them around a skewer and then do them over an open flame, right? They're also mixed with onions and garlic and a bunch of other spices. And so these are really, really a base for this. I'm trying to think. Another dish that I really loved at the restaurant was called kashk badam jan. And it was, a lot of people think, when they think of an eggplant dish, they think of baba ganoush, right? Everybody hears of baba ganoush. That's like the big one. I am not a fan. Kashk badam jan is like 10 times better. It's roasted eggplant and whey and a bunch of other amazing, like, I could eat it for days. All the people that worked at Shiraz used to make fun of me because I ate it literally all the time. Like, that's the only thing I ever wanted to eat while I was there. It was delicious. I could eat it every day of my life. Okay, all right. So, a couple cloves of garlic are done. Just leave those here off to the side. I think we're gonna be good to take this chicken out.
Somebody asked if our kids eat meals without fuss.
Yeah, do you hear them? What are they arguing about?
I don't know.
Yeah, no. No, they don't. They're the worst sometimes.
We make them different food.
Yeah, sometimes they'll eat, like, they'll probably eat the rice from this that I have cooking in the back, but, like, they're probably not going to eat the rest of it, honestly. That's just the truth. I probably will reserve some chicken without sauce on it. It's reality, guys. Like, that's it. Okay. Let's get another bowl. I'm going to take this chicken out, all right? There's a lot of water content in this, actually, so I'm actually going to dump that out. I didn't realize there would be so much water. I think it's because I used chicken thighs instead of chicken breasts, which is okay. All right. Almost done. Yeah, I'm actually going to do this in 2 separate bowls because I'm going to keep some for my kids to eat without any sauce on it. Oh yeah, no, that's gonna evaporate out. Okay, that's fine. All right, last one. All right. For people that are on a paleo diet, Persian food, if you have a Persian restaurant near you, you can eat their paleo really, really easily. My husband goes to, what's the place called that you go to?
Le Kebab.
Le Kebab. He goes to this kebab place all the time for lunch when we're being pretty strict paleo. Because he can get a kebab with, like, roasted vegetables on the side and stick to his plan. Okay. Any other questions?
No, not yet.
Okay, here we go. So that's going to be for my kids. So now we're going to add the onion. It calls for another tablespoon of oil, but I don't think we need it, so I'm not going to add it. So I'm just going to add this whole yellow onion in here. White onion, excuse me, not yellow. You could use a yellow onion, but it calls for white. All right. Okay, we're going to sweat that down a little bit. And then what we're going to do is we're going to let that sweat for a couple minutes. We're going to add our garlic in there, sweat that out, and then we're going to kind of do like a dump, okay? So we're going to add some chicken stock. So it's 2 cups of chicken stock after we have our onions. Chicken is back in there, garlic's back in there. We're going to add our chicken stock, bring it to a boil, reduce it to a simmer, because we're making a sauce, right? We're making a sauce or a stew. And then we're going to add the rest of our stuff. So our salt, our pepper, our spices. And then the other thing that I want to talk to you guys about that we're adding to this recipe is this little gem right here. And what this is it's a pomegranate molasses, okay? Now, I just made my own. You can usually find these at specialty stores. If you are going to look for it at your store, you want to look in the international aisle. They usually come in little bottles, and it's a thick syrup. If you want to make your own, it is super, super easy. I actually had to do it twice because I burnt the first one because I wasn't paying attention, so definitely pay attention to it. But those little bottles of POM juice, P-O-M, you can get those at the store, just 100% pomegranate juice. You need 8 ounces. Stick it in a saucepan with a little bit of lime juice and a pinch of salt. Bring it to a boil, turn it on low, and let it sit for 45 minutes, okay? It's going to reduce by half. You only need 2 tablespoons for the recipe. I lied. You need 1/4 of a cup for the recipe, okay? Which is 2, 4, 6, 8, 2 ounces, basically. Okay? And so this is 8 ounces that reduced by half. So I'm going to use some of that for this sauce.
Can you repeat the name of the dish?
Fessenjan, chicken Fessenjan. Okay, where'd my wooden spoon go? I'm losing my mind. All right, here we go. There we go. That's what I want to see. Now, the best part of this dish when they served it at Shiraz is the garnishes. And I know that sounds so funny, but pomegranate seeds, whole pomegranate seeds, I bought these. These were already seeded for me. They sell these at Trader Joe's. They're a really great snack, too. But on the top of the dish, putting these, just like sprinkling them on top, oh my gosh, when you bite into one and it just like explodes a little bit in your mouth, so good. So I recommend, I have it on my website. They're honestly just for garnish, but they're really good. You can also blend these and put them in shakes or whatever. They're full of antioxidants and other great things, so they're just good to have in the house. I really like to just eat them. I didn't have a whole pomegranate. They didn't have them, or I would have shown you how to take the seeds out. But you can usually YouTube that. That's how I usually figure it out. You cut it in half, whack it with a spoon. Okay, guys, we are ready for our garlic. So we're going to add our garlic in here, okay? And I add it after because I don't want it to burn because it cooks a lot faster than onions. Okay? Rinse my hands. All right. Okay. So now I'm going to just take this off here to show you guys this for a second. Okay, so on the bottom of this pan, I'm actually going to turn this off. I'll turn it back on in a second. There's a ton of great little brown bits. You guys see all that? I want all of that in my sauce, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to deglaze it. So after I add the chicken back in, that's why we hit a hot pan with cold stock, right? And then what we do is we take a wooden spoon. Wooden spoon is your best friend in the kitchen, so if you don't have one, go get one. And you're going to just scrape all of those little chicken bits off the bottom. That's why we do the chicken first, because all the fat, all the flavor gets stuck to the bottom of the pan, and then we get to scrape it off and it ends up in our sauce, okay? So we're going to need 2 cups of chicken stock. So let me get this. Homemade is best. It's not required, okay? Measure this out. I have homemade in here, but the stuff that I made had a really big lemon flavor to it, so I'm using store-bought. Okay. 2 cups of chicken stock. Now, if you want to do this without chicken, you could eat this sauce vegetarian. If you wanted to take the chicken out, just replace this with vegetable stock, okay? All right, here we go. We're going to add our chicken back in. There's a little bit of liquid in there. And then we're going to hit it with our cold stock, okay? 2 cups. Okay, remember what I said. We are going to BTB, RTS, bring to boil, reduce to simmer, okay? So your pot should still be on high. All right, let me get some of these out of the way. So now we're going to make a little mixture of our spices so we can add all of this in at once. So I just have a little wooden bowl here. Sorry, there's just something on the bottom of that. Okay, so here we go. Are you guys ready for this? It's really, really easy. Turmeric. You need a 1/2 teaspoon, okay? Turmeric is this amazing orange-ish yellow spice. Super, super good. That's funny. These ones that I buy at Trader Joe's always have little like things on the back. It says turmeric can be combined with ingredients like almond milk, cinnamon, honey, and ginger to make tea. I just like to read those. Okay, so you need a 1/2 teaspoon, okay, of turmeric. Okay? And then you need a 1/4 teaspoon, or 1/8 of a teaspoon of ginger and an 1/8 teaspoon of ground nutmeg. So it's just really a pinch. When somebody says an 1/8 teaspoon, it's the same thing as just saying a pinch of it, basically. Okay, and then same thing of nutmeg. Okay, good to go. A little bit more black pepper, about a 1/4 teaspoon. A little bit more salt, about a 1/4 teaspoon. So we seasoned the chicken already, so a lot of that salt and pepper is going to come off, just so you guys know. All right, that's not quite boiling yet. And then what we're going to do is we're going to dump this, okay? We're going to do our seasoning, our pomegranate molasses, our walnuts, okay? So that entire thing of brown walnuts. And then the last thing that we're going to add is honey, okay? This is not Whole30, just so you guys know. It is paleo, but not Whole30. So this is honey that me and Brandon actually got from Cancun when we went there. So this is actual real honey. There's a honeycomb in there. I don't know if you guys can see that really. I don't want to bend it over. I guess I could take it out.
Can we put it?
What? So this is a real honeycomb. Ooh. You guys can see that? It's kind of cool, right? So it literally just sits in here. They told us you can like chew on it if you want. But this is like really good raw honey. So you're going to need 2 tablespoons of that too. You don't have to have stuff from Cancun. That's just what I have in my pantry, and it's really flavorful and delicious, so that's what I'm using. We actually have these little honey candies that they gave us too, and it's weird because in the middle of them there's sesame seeds. So we're pulling from all cultures here. So this is obviously not like Persian honey, but it's really good, so I'm using it. Okay, so this is boiling. So we are going to add the rest of our stuff here, okay? So first I'm going to add the walnuts. So instead of flour as a thickener, we're using the walnuts to thicken our sauce, okay? So this actually is a very, very thick sauce, but we're using walnuts as our thickener instead of like a cornstarch or a flour or a roux or any of that. We're going to use walnuts instead, okay? So just pour that in there. Make sure you get it all. Okay? We're going to add our spices. We're going to add our 2 tablespoons of this pomegranate syrup. Actually, 15 milliliters, 2 ounces. It's 1/4 cup. I need a 1/4 cup. I have that out too. There we go. 1/4 cup. So it's actually about half of what we had. So you will have a little bit extra left over if you make it yourself. And then we need 2 full tablespoons of this honey, okay? All right. I never get all the honey out ever.
Yeah, it's
Okay. And then give it a big stir. Okay. Now I'm not gonna lie. This sauce is not the most appealing color, okay? It's brown. I mean, it's a brown sauce. It's like a thick brown sauce, right? But that's why we garnish it with these really, really pretty pomegranate seeds and some parsley, okay? So it's a good contrast. And I cannot even tell you how good this is. It's amazing. And it smells really good. Okay. So, now, this sauce is going to take a little while. I'm just going to tell you guys that right now. So it takes about 20 minutes. So we're bringing it up to a boil again. I'm getting it to a rolling boil, which means big bubbles, right? Okay, so you want a rolling boil. And then you're going to turn it down. You guys hear it? Turn it down to a simmer. Okay, so bring to boil, reduce to simmer. That's how you're going to thicken your sauces. You do the exact same thing when you're making this pomegranate reduction. Okay, it's the same thing. That's how you reduce anything, okay? So now it's just simmering here. We're going to let it simmer for about 20 minutes. I'm going to serve this over that basmati rice that I have. I'm going to garnish it with pomegranate seeds, and you don't need a lot. You just really want them for that garnish. And then I'm also going to top it with just a little bit of parsley. Like I said, parsley is one of those things, especially in Iran, that they pretty much eat with everything. I'm not kidding. When we were working there, my boss used to walk around with just sprigs of parsley and he would chew on them. It's what they actually do because they eat so many onions, and what happens when you eat a lot of onions? It gives you bad breath, right? So they believed, and actually it's true, if you chew on parsley, it gets rid of that really like bad onion smell that you have like coming out of your mouth, I guess. So they would literally just chew on parsley. So we had parsley on every single plate, but it wasn't a garnish. It was meant to be eaten. And that's what's so funny is people, you know, American people would come into the restaurant and they wouldn't eat it, they wouldn't touch it. But Persian people would come into the restaurant and they would eat the parsley raw. So it is very an authentic, you know, herb in Iran. Okay, so we have just a little bit of parsley here, and like I said, I've showed you guys this on live feeds before. If you bunch it up into a little tiny ball, keep it close to your knife, small cuts, you know, you just keep it pressed against your knife. It's a really good way to mince your herbs. And then you can just kind of, when your knife's down on the board, continue to bunch it up, and you just run it against your knuckles so that you don't cut yourself. Okay? Again, knife skills take time. Small dices.
I'd like you to post how to make the pomegranate reduction.
I would be happy to. It's actually in the recipe. It's on the first step of the recipe. So, okay. All right. Good to go. Let's check on that. That looks good. So we're pretty much done, guys, with everything that I can show you. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to post a picture of this plated and done on Instagram and on Snapchat. So if you don't follow me there, go and check it out at The Fit Law. I'm at The Fit Law at Instagram and on Snapchat. And I will post a picture, okay? The recipe, the full recipe for chicken Fessenjan is on my blog, www.thefitlaw.com/blog. It just went up today. The picture has not updated because, as you know, I do these live. So my pictures update when I actually have a picture to give you. Like I said, serve this over basmati rice. get the pomegranate seeds. They're worth it. I swear they will make this dish incredible. And try this. I cannot get this through your head enough. Like, you should try this recipe because it will change your life, seriously. And if you haven't found a Persian restaurant close to you, Google one, try to find one, because if you can find authentic Persian food, you will not be sorry, I swear. So thanks for tuning in, guys. I promise this is the last time that I will go early. I will be on 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Every week after this, I just had a conflict in schedule. So I hope you enjoyed hanging out with me tonight. I can't wait to show you this plate because it's going to be gorgeous. And I will talk to you guys next week at 8 p.m. and we'll do something different. All right, guys, have a great night. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will talk to you later. All right, bye.